What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and today we're getting ready for our live session. There's a little bit of movement this morning in pre-market New York. I want to find out what that's all about, discuss it a little bit with you. We're going to take a look at all the charts, see what's going on with open positions and what further setups are developing. I'm using a different audio system this morning. I just wanted to get a quick check. Could everyone hear the audio clearly? All right, here we go. So this morning, what I have flowing through my head this morning so far is that I'm seeing the yen strengthening up across the board. All right, and I'm attributing that to perhaps. So China came out and said, and I believe it was President Xi who came out and said that next year is probably going to be tougher than this year. So that's something that you would see yen appreciation on. And then also this morning out of New York, we had some job numbers. Let's take some data, and it was retail. No, boom, boom. Where are we this morning? I'm sorry, I thought we had a big miss this morning. I read something. Let's check a look at the live data feed. I wait till I'm with you guys to kind of really get a really in-depth look. I'm just going off of some headlines that I read. We're going to figure out what it is before we get into the charts this morning. I want to have a clear picture of the story. Awesome. Thanks, Blair. Let's see. Oh, I'm mistaken. I thought there was a little bit of a miss out of. Here we go. This what it was. It was the Philly Fed. It really missed expectations by a lot. And I initially saw the dollar come off on that, and then since then the dollar has been strengthening. Let's take a look here at the DXY since we have it here. Initially, the dollar came off on that data, and then since has been rising. So whether or not it's going to get back up into here this morning before the U.S. equities open, or whether now as it's testing this little bit of a resistance area, if it comes back off, we're going to find out. You saw that play out also on the euro. It spiked up on that news, came into that resistance right there. You could see where my mouse is right now, and has since come back down. I'm not sure what to make of that. That's clearly bad data, and although I guess it's just not a high impact news event, that's what's happening. Ultimately, it's what's ever happening on the charts that we focus in on and what matters to us. So the story of the day. So the Australian dollar going into the session was the strongest. It had really good data last night. It had solid data out of employment change was a big gain, and the unemployment rate also came in very strong. So the Australian dollar was appreciating pretty strongly versus the Japanese yen overnight, and that since has given back those gains and is back to unchanged. Not so bullish. You see lots of wicks up here. See these long wicks up here. No buyers able to hold. No buyers able to hold. But we're still above supports. And I'm more interested in whether or not this is just a temporary relief in all the yen strength we've been seeing, or whether or not this is a move that's going to hold. But all yen pairs are currently showing a lot of strength, and this could be nothing more than a buying opportunity. We'll take a look at this. This looks pretty good. We'll take a look at all these as we do our review this morning. All right, first let's take a look at gold. Let's see what gold is doing. Actually, before that, I just want to even see what silver is doing. Silver's still basically flat to sideways as it's been all week, below the channel resistance. And you could see if we zoom out a little bit and just where my mouse is right here, that's where price is, just in the middle of the zone. There's clearly no edge and no reason to be trading it. And same exact thing with gold. Gold is still below this little bit of resistance here. I don't really think that it would have a problem popping up past that. I expect this area to hold up here. We have the upper trend channel resistance and this resistance up here. But right now it's just simply sideways as it's been all week within this channel. So really time to avoid those pairs completely. All right, I'm going to do a quick overview first. Again, Australian dollar, Japanese yen, not a good sign on that strong Australian dollar. I think the story of the day today is the yen strength. Yen is probably the strongest pair going into the session, and but she's still holding above my support levels. And again, when you take a trade, you know what your stop loss is going into the trade. It's really a good idea to respect your stop loss, to respect the support or the resistance you set it off of, and let the trade develop as it is. I don't see any reason to change or alter my trade at this point. You can always exit a trade at or around break even if you feel for whatever reason something new has developed. I'm still going to give this room and see what happens. The Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, this is kind of interesting because we have this support here that was broken yesterday. On the Australian dollar overnight, this came back into the pattern and is since come back out of it. So it's a little bit undecided. I don't know what's going to happen by the end of today. By the close of New York today, I think it's pretty important whether or not you get back into here or you're on the outside to decide if there's a trade or not. And it leaves it open for both ways. If you get back within the channel and then start making higher highs, you're back within this pattern. This was a false break. And usually after a false break, you see some pretty strong move it the other way and might test the top of this range up here. If we close outside of this support line over here and it held as resistance, then it looks good taking it to the short side. But the Australian dollar is pretty strong today. Canadian dollar holding up well against it. Hey, Steve, welcome. Glad you're here with us. Everybody that's here this morning, I'm glad you're able to join in. Definitely love working together. I definitely love the community. Let's keep going. If anyone, by the way, at any point wants to look at a pair as we're going over our analysis, go ahead, put it into the chat. Be happy to take a look at it. That's what we're here for. Until then, I'm just going to keep going, getting a feel for what's going on this morning. I do that with you because I'm doing that for myself at the same time. So here we have the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, and I'm seeing this. I know that I have strong yen strength today. I don't see any reason for that to dissipate just yet, right? The market's kind of just weighing that in. I feel like the yen is taking a breather from all that weakness. So there's room to develop here. So what I want to watch is see if price comes back and down towards this support. That would be the first area that I would look for to see how price reacted around is the support up here. If price does hold up here where it is right now at the top of these wicks and reverse, that's pretty bullish. But I'm going to give it some room, see what happens. I'm still holding. I took a little bit of profit yesterday on this trade, and I'm still holding it. I have my stop now break even, and I'm just giving it room to see what happens. And right now it's kind of mixed. It's basically unchanged on the day. It's not really giving me much of a direction, and I'm just continuing to hold that trade. Euro US dollar is interesting this morning to me. Why is it interesting? Because let's look at the 8 hour. Let's even look at a smaller time frame. Let's look at the 1 hour. Let's look at the 30-minute. All right. So this is yesterday during New York, right? Somewhere over here. And since then, prices come off this support. Remember, if price falls out on a support, and then you see it start retracing back up. Once it got over these highs over here, if you were short over here, and I wasn't, nor was I looking at it, and I didn't like the risk to reward, and I wouldn't take it. But if you were, and why I'm talking about this right now is because this holds true for all sports or resistance. When you see price come down along the support, If it stalls out along the support and then you see it rising, you see where it made a higher high than this area right here, that's where you take the profit. All right, you can get back in later. But you see what happened, this price came up and tested this trend line resistance again. Since has come down. We then saw the bearish US data print on the Philly Fed, the big miss. Immediately the euro gained against the dollar and has since come back down and is testing this. So what's going to happen today during New York? Are we going to take out the support level? Maybe, right? It's a little bit of a tell that after the bad data, price initially reacted off it and came back down. I'm interested to see what's happening. We'll follow that this session. Here we are on the 8 hour. Really neat, right? How price breaks down, comes down, tests the support, comes back up, tests the resistance, comes back down. We're at support right now. Rustin, is that Australian dollar everything you just sold right now? What's bad? BAD. So when I look at the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, I see that we're in between this channel and price is holding in between this channel and continues to hold in that channel and continues to hold within this blue box. So for me, that's absolutely, here's the look at it on the 8 hour. This is just sideways price action with no edge. You know, if you make a lower low, are you selling this here and looking for price to come down and test the bottom of this blue box where the support is? I mean, that's a trade. I don't know that I like it, but that's a trade. And you know, if you see price break out of this trend line over here, it didn't break out here, didn't break out versus the trend line, and it was rejected by this top of this blue box we had already drawn in there. Um, you know, you want to wait not only for to see price break out above this trend line, you want to see it hold, maybe test back, hold as resistance. Right here, this is sideways and not offering an edge for me. If anyone has any different type of annotations on the chart they want to, you know, share and take a look at, that's awesome. Let's do that. Spell check always gets me too. Good morning, everyone. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc looks like it is penetrating below this channel here right now. Again, you want a way to close. It got above it yesterday. Couldn't really hold. I don't know how much weight you want to give to this channel over here. I only noticed that you have the resistance here, and then over here it held. Um, you know, I think this is the support that's more important. This I have the blue box below the support because this trend channel is really important for me, the darker one. But once you get around here, this looks to be an area. If we get around here, this looks to be an area that you might consider going long again. Um, so I don't know if there's any. I'm gonna look here on Forex Factory to see if there's anything regarding what China said. Here we go. This is the headline I want to. China Premier Li, it wasn't Z, excuse me, said downward pressure on the economy could even be bigger next year. All right, so that's really important. We've discussed a couple of times when we talk about the longer term picture that even though there is some type of seemingly ceasefire truce between the U.S. and China, that the global economy is still probably going to go into a deeper slowdown, and this is just like some small type of reprieve. And although we're seeing this risk-on type environment, the question is how long does it last? And I don't know. In my opinion, this gives a weak Chinese economy is going to give Trump more power next year. He's going to negotiate even harder with them, and you know, it's just a question of him getting through the current state of being reelected. But once he is, and it, if he's reelected, there's going to be a much bigger escalation in the U.S.-China trade war, and China is the one actually who has less leverage. Communists need to stay in power by making sure that people are fed. Right now, the people are having trouble being fed. They can't afford the pork price. The pork prices are skyrocketing. They're having trouble. Their economy is slowing down. This is something bigger picture that you want to be aware of. But right now, while we are seeing the bit of risk on, we're seeing strong Australian dollar, strong New Zealand dollar. We've been seeing weak Japanese yen, and I think that's going to continue. Although we're seeing that strength today, that's just normal market fluctuations. Question is, how long does that last? And just something to be aware of long term, or at least it's something I want to be aware of long term, which is why I'm discussing it with you right now. I mean, so fair enough. I don't want to. I want to talk about the political environment because it affects the markets without being political. And the thing is that the current impeachment of the president. This is the third time in history it's been done. So Bill Clinton was impeached, and then it didn't pass through the Senate. I think it was. I'm not sure about this. I think it was Andrew Jackson was impeached. Whoever it was Andrew someone. I hope it wasn't Andrew Jackson. He took down the banks. It also was not withheld in the Senate, and so now you have President Trump being impeached, and they said that it was a bipartisan effort. It was partisan. Not one Republican in the House voted for impeachment. Not one. Two Democrats voted against it, and one just voted present. It's 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 clearly unfounded. The markets don't care about it because there's nothing there. It's just a bad political move on the part of the Democrats to try to weaponize impeaching the president when there is nothing to impeach him over. The market doesn't even care about it. It's not affecting it whatsoever. Ofo, good morning. Glad to hear that we have Honduras with us. May God bless you too. Yeah, gold, we could take a quick look at. We already looked at it. I'm going to take a look at silver and gold at the same time. Start with silver. And you could see that this past week, these are daily price bars we're looking at. Price is nowhere and sideways, right? So there's no trade on silver right now. It's below the channel. It's at this resistance. It's sideways. Stay away from things that are sideways. And gold too. Look, for the past 5 days, 4 days is just sideways in a very narrow range, and within the middle of this channel. So find things that are moving, find things that are giving an edge, and find things that are giving clarity. Gold is clearly none of those things right now, so stay away. And it's really important to be able to look at the market, to look at the pair you're trading, and to recognize that, right? So this is a good instrument for us to be looking at right now because it tells us that there's nothing going on right now. The only thing that you could get from this is that usually when price contracts and compresses, there is a move coming soon. You just want to wait for that move to develop, right? And not get in while it's doing nothing because you have no edge either way. All right, we have let me refresh this page for you. I'll come back to it in a second. What are we looking at today, though? What is offering opportunity? I don't see anything yet offering any type of opportunity yet this morning. If anyone else does, please let me know. Euro Australian dollar continues to be battling out between this resistance and this support. Again, this is sideways. Australian dollar overnight had that really positive data surprises. came back up into this resistance. You see the red line resistance we had here, and you could see the resistance touch over here. Here it was support until it broke. Here is the resistance, and it came back up into this resistance, and has since been rejected. It closed though, or no, it hasn't closed. Today it should or could close above this trend line, and that is pretty bullish if it does. But right now, it's caught between this. It hasn't closed above it, this trend line resistance, and this resistance up here. Again, you need to do both those things. You need to close above this trend line over here, and also get above this resistance to get the okay clear. So this becomes, I think, more of a higher watch right now. Rustin, that's an interesting perspective, and that's good. I thought it was off of, and I'm not saying that's what it was. I thought it was off of. We had this big miss on the Philly Fed, but then I looked on the calendar. I saw that's not even a high impact news event. So I like that insight you gave us about the repo. Was that at the same time, more or less? Because the move did happen just exactly around 8:30. Looks like pound CAD is coming into this pocket right here of support. It's marked as resistance. That's support, right? What's next? I like this down lower here. Not much. Pound US dollar. So again, so for me, well, this is interesting today. Let's take a look at this. I mean, I'm going to start it off by saying the pound is uncertain. Stay away from uncertainty and trade what's clear. That's a really important meme. It's a really important rule. Meme. And you can see the pound tried to make a move up today. Look at this. Let's look at this on a small time frame. That's a lot of volatility. That's a lot of volatility. That's that's uncertainty across the board. But you're down here towards a nice area of support now. Double support. You have this support I have it marked as pretty light. I have this one marked as heavy. Right? If you get down into this area over here where you have this lower trend line support, and then this strong support over here, that looks tasty. That would be, a really strong buy if we get out, somewhere over there. But right now we're off this trend line, and we have this light support. This is an area you might want to lean off to the long side if price does go ahead and start making higher highs over here. All right. But I'm on the camp that there's a lot of uncertainty here, and I'm looking for whether there's more clarity. Similar picture today on the pound Japanese yen. You see lots of that. I'm not sure what happened here. I think initially the Bank of England said that they were going to be on hold. They were not be cutting rates, and I think price initially appreciated right here off of that. I think, don't quote me on that. And then you see price since has retraced that level, taking out these stops. Could be a buying opportunity. I kind of like the pound US dollar better here, but I don't like either of them. Mark, you're an animal. You've had a few hundred pips on the pound this week, huh? All right, what's next? I know one of you went ahead and bought the US dollar Mexican peso down here off that support. That's working out. Good trade. Okay, Euro Japanese yen. We've actually not looked at her all week, and now we're getting back to an interesting point where it could possibly be looking. I want to see what's going on a shorter time frame. I'm looking for an area to lean off of over here. I'm looking for where there's support to see whether or not there's a place to be leaning off of. I have a support down here. All right, we're coming into this support. I have it from that was resistance, broke. That was support, broke, became resistance, held all there through the resistance, broke through, tested that broken resistance as support right there on that daily part, and now we're back down towards it. This is an area to watch. I'm not gonna take. I'm gonna wait and see what happens around this support and see what price does. Um, so this is coming up towards the watch list. But I'm not seeing, yeah, I'm not really seeing, I talk about how setups come in waves. I'm not really seeing a wave of setups coming in today. I feel like, if I was surfing, I would be out there waiting for the next set to come in. I still have open trades on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. I'm still waiting for those trades to continue uh, to develop and play out. I don't see any setups yet developing at this moment. What time frame was that on? Are you talking? What time frame were you looking at, so I could follow it? I added. If you go into the description right now, everyone, if you take a look in the description, I added the website. Alberto was really helpful in preparing an outline of all the stuff we discuss here, and I spent yesterday building off of it. If you go down over here and you click on the Bitcoin Growth Bot link, it'll take you to the new area we have, and then you could go ahead and access. This is the discretionary trend following system we have, and go ahead and access. We have several pages in each of these sections, and really good stuff. And any feedback, any way that we could go ahead and build off that and make it better, please go ahead. If you add comments on our live streams, on our videos down below, I could then add that stuff into the content here. If anyone has any other additional information, I think that you all will find this extremely, extremely beneficial. I also added, and you'll see a link when you register here, that for this mailing list, which will be all the updates we'll use for the group. For example, I will email out over the weekend the schedule for the holiday, at what days will, to expect something, and which days that I'm definitely not trading and to avoid, things like that. And Aaron, what time frame were you looking at there on the pound? I'm seeing that Japanese yen strength continuing. And now we're right here at the 1 minute away from the US equities opening up. So I see we had the channel line join in here. Once this broke through and then came up and tested that as resistance and then came back down. That's a solid entry. Looks like UX markets are opening up unchanged this morning. Oil continues to push above. There hasn't been a pullback in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. I think today's probably a big day, whether or not it gets above here or it comes back down, gets rejected, and then takes a look at this trend line. Let's take a look at the US dollar, Canadian dollar right now. I don't know that there is a play. So I'm going to drop down to the 8-hour. So Wilford, my entry came up here after price had tested this resistance and then was trading down off of it. I entered actually during New York session on the live stream right here. And then after my entry, price did come back up, take another look at that resistance, and then really trade off. I took profit yesterday during the New York live stream. That was already placed right over there, and I have another piece open. My stop is moved to break even. There's a chance right now that that starts resuming downwards now. As you could see, the price, pulled back for 2 sessions and now seems to be resuming downwards. Would I take an entry over here? I wouldn't. Is it? Do you have? You do have resistance. Let me show you. Right, that's light. It's light resistance. You can see it over here where it was support. You see it held as support over here, and then right now price has come back into that and is rolling over. So is it possible to take an entry here? Yeah, I'm more comfortable holding my open position here and taking a look if we break down to new lows over here, you know, for a really beautiful trade. But this is not a trade I would be entering in right now if I wasn't already in it. All right. I like leaning off of high probability trade setups that's off of stronger resistance, selling off of strong resistance, buying off of stronger supports. And this one down here is pretty light. It looks good for continuing to hold the trade that I'm in, but I'm not going to be adding to a position there. Yeah, I agree. So this is very light for a reason. It's just in there as a guideline. You want to be aware of it if you're trading it, but I don't necessarily think that you're going to hold either. What if you get below this though, right? And you see the true trend turning at the same time. If you get below these two areas, then you have a nice trade. I think you have a really good opportunity to go short into here. There doesn't seem to be much holding us in the way over here. And again, I'm avoiding it only because it's really volatile right now. Um, if this area does hold and starts reversing upwards, I do respect that and like that for long as well. Wilford, I don't use fib retracements at all. A lot of traders focus in on fib levels, and because a lot of traders are focusing in on them, they usually are respected and work out. You could trade off of divergence, you could trade off of fib levels, you could trade off of a trillion different things. You have to find out what works for you. You could take what we do here, the concept, the principles over here, and translate it into anything else. Wilford, I think tomorrow is Friday. It's the last day of trading. All right. Looking at the calendar with everyone real quick. Today Friday is the 20th, right? Christmas Eve is the 24th of December. This is going to be an extremely, extremely light day. This whole week should be avoided, strongly avoided. All right. On the 27th, we'll do a market overview, see what's going on in the markets, take a look at them together. I don't know if that will be live, which it could be. I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know through the newsletter whether or not that's going to be live. And then you have the 31st, same exact thing. I'll be doing I'll be spending 30 minutes going over the markets because I'm not going to be trading live, but as I'm getting ready to trade live again, I want to be following the flow of the market. Wilford, you're right now on the 19th. I don't think you should be looking to take any trades. I think you should be using this time right now as I'm saying, hey, look, I don't really see any new waves coming in, new trades developing. I don't think you should force anything right now. I think you'd be more productive going into here and studying this. This is going to the discretionary trend following section, and the pages, the guidelines you're going to find in there, the overview for the trading we do, the what to do, what not to do. This is all going to be really, really fantastic for you. Do that. I don't think you should trade today. I don't think you should be looking to trade now. And then just moving forward with you, we have obviously no one's trading. No one's trading these days. All right. The second and the third, I'll be looking again to be doing my overview, 30 minutes, finding out the flow of the market because I will be trading again come on Monday the 6th. All right. Pound traders, though, we are at an interesting area. Said double touch over there. I'm very undecided. I'm looking for direction. I don't see anything clear myself. If anyone does have any insight right now, what's going on? I'm interested to know. I'm kind of, and it's good. I'm a little undecided. I don't see an edge. I don't see a wave coming in of setups. I feel like this is the point where you want to be in the water, just waiting for the next set to come in. Is really important to be able to recognize. Um, Hold on, two things. US dollar, Japanese yen. We haven't even looked at that this morning, Rustin. Good job. Thank you for that. I'm gonna look at this in 1 second with you. Alberto, most likely what is going on is when you look at a pair, for example, here I'm looking for the US dollar, Japanese yen, you have all these different brokers, FXCM, Oanda, Forex.com, ICE, Saxo, and if you look at a different broker, then you have the annotations on the lines. For example, right now, if I go to Forex.com, I don't have any of my lines. But then if I go US dollar, Japanese yen, and go to ICE, that's where I have my lines. So check all the different broker feeds and find out where you have them. That's probably what is going on. So here's my overview of the US dollar, Japanese yen, right? And I'm looking on the daily. I see here that you see this trend line over here, this which is since been resistance is holding as resistance. Price never got to close above it. It took a look above it and then was rejected right there by that resistance up there and then closed back down on the line. So you have these two in play. This resistance line up here, the red one, and this light trend line over here, and both are holding as resistance and price is being rejected. As we come into this line over here, I'm interested to see if this holds as support. If this holds as support, right? I'm probably not taking a long. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, the last trading day. I'm in two trades. As if you were to take the long off of this support, you're coming back into this resistance here. So you got to clear this resistance, this channel resistance, and this red line resistance to take a look higher. If you get down towards this support, well, that gets a little more interesting. And this area seems to be a lot stronger. There seems to be much more downside. You have much more room to the downside here than the upside. You have the yen strength in play today. We are seeing the dollar come off right now. Rustin, a good place to focus. The trade does not fit my any of my criteria whatsoever, but I see it. I see the yen strength. I see the US dollar weakness, and I see this resistance area up here, holding, and that's a good place to hit a stop above. And if you're doing that, it seems to me you have over a greater 1-to-1 risk to reward into this area over here, and then there's a strong chance, or there's a good chance, depending how price reacts around there, you could go further. So again, I see it. Yeah, and not only that, Wilford, I would wait first for the break, and then I would wait for a retest and test of that broken resistance to see if it's support. and then for the retrace back above, right? You're going to see that. You're going to see that in here and what to do. And again, I focus on a few trades a week, and I focus on ones that have clarity. And I'm picky and choosy about the setups I take. There was a time that I traded everything that moved, and to be honest, I'm a lot more profitable being choosy and picking my setups and waiting for the market to come to me. Yeah, good eye. I mean, and you're focused in the right place, right? Look, take a look back at the DXY. It's now unchanged on the day, negative. Huh. Let's watch this during New York today. See which way price breaks out of this. Um, this actually, if it, I would lean towards this breaking to the upside. Let's see if it breaks down. Either way, this is this is something for us to focus on right now to see what the next move is going to be this morning. We were looking at Bitcoin yesterday. There was record institutional buying on the Backed exchange. Backed is the exchange run by the founders of the New York Stock Exchange. It settles in physical Bitcoin. They had 40 over $41 million of Bitcoin bought over here. Right. We were looking yesterday at Bitcoin on the, from a really step back perspective of where it was. And we were noting that that seems to be a really good buying opportunity. It looks like the institutional money thought the same thing. Backs at a record yesterday. Feels like a light day to me. It feels like it's a day of pause. Not really much clarity of things developing. I think it's always really important to get a feel for the market conditions around you. Are you in a trend day? Are you in a range day? Is it choppy? What time frame should you be really focused in on? How volatile is the market? Tesla is trading. I want to watch that actually. Tesla's trading, I think at all-time highs. Does this look like a blow off top? Looks like she's getting close to hitting, Elon Musk's 420 funding secured target level. Very interesting. I don't know. How much higher do you think that could go? I very, very, very rarely trade stocks, but I have to admit this is peaks has piqued my attention right now. A short up here long term looks really tasty, but I don't know. I don't know. I kind of stick where my strengths are. I mean, Rustin, what's it popping on? Is it just the all time highs on the indices? Um, I think Netflix too is also. I don't know if I have a ticker. I'm looking if I have a ticker for Netflix. Do I also invest? Yes. And you know, I think gold and Bitcoin are really good long term investments. I see some pretty big resistance that it's coming up against over here too. I don't know. Again, I don't. I don't remember. It's probably been over 15 years since I shorted a stock, but Tesla and Netflix look pretty interesting. What's going on here? I'm interested. Maybe it won't be until that report comes out until we get a break here, one way or the other. Wilfred, I can't really give my opinion in that, in the fact that, you know, my uncle, who's passed away, God rest his soul, he um he had two newspaper routes, and he retired a multimillionaire. Left New York, went down to Florida, multimillionaire. Uh, he invested all his money in the stock market and just held stocks for 10 and 20 and 30 years. And, just like Warren Buffett was invested at the right time, some of the greatest bull markets of history, we're right now at an 11-year bull market phase, the longest in history. And, you know, I don't know what's going to continue to happen with the stock market. Maybe it goes on 20 years, the longest in history, you know, more than double the length, or that, like, because of the amount of money the government starts spending through programs like MMT, free healthcare, and building out infrastructure. Maybe because of inflation, the stock markets go on to all new time highs. But you know, personally, inside a Roth IRA or 401k, I like gold and I like Bitcoin. Um, Honestly, if you haven't seen this video here, is Bitcoin a good investment? Uh, Go down into our videos and look for this one. Is Bitcoin still a good investment? And watch this video. Right now, millennials, Bitcoin is their fifth largest holding. Millennials is going to be the biggest demographic in about 10 years, and they're going to have the most money. Watch where they're investing their money. Watch this video. I, I can't, you know, I can't really give you advice on that, but I can let you know where I'm leaning. Stanley Druckenmiller is one of the greatest traders of all times. He is actually the trader who took down the Bank of England, working with George Soros. George Soros did tell him to actually to raise his position size, and George taught him a lot, especially about when you are sure about a trade to really go all in on it. So when Stanley speaks, I like to pay attention to what he has to say. He has a 30 plus return for over 30 years in a row, and he is an investing legend. So he's looking. So this is interesting, right? Tell me this is not exactly where we are. He's saying for 2020, he's looking at the Canadian and Australian dollar while short in the yen and treasuries. But treasuries aside, that's what we've been focused on seeing developing. A weak yen. We are expecting that to continue until it doesn't. Right today, this morning, I was talking about how the fact that China's looking at a weaker growth next year. Eventually, the global economy, you know, when's that going to really come slamming down? The U.S. China trade deal should escalate really big in 2021. But we've been looking at New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, and Australian dollar with yen weakness. Pretty good, right? He bought the pound, and he said the Greek exit will ultimately be good for the U.S. economy. That's exactly where we stand also. The only question is whether or not on any type of hard exit you get any type of pound depreciation first. But he's looking already buying the pound, he says. Really interesting. Really interesting. I'm have to be honest. that I'm really happy to see that his insights are very much in line with ours right now. That's pretty cool. Here we go. It's right now that data is coming out, and at the same time, what's happening here with the DXY? Looks to me like everything is in line. We haven't looked at the US dollar, Swiss franc this morning. Let's take a look at it. Trading up the lows of the week. And really, this just indecisive morning continues. I don't really see an edge anywhere. I'm outside waiting for the next wave to come in. I am into open trades. There's a really interesting video I'm looking forward to watching today on Real Vision that was released yesterday. It was on the housing market. I'll find that link for you all right now. There you go, Rustin. Some follow through. So this video is about, do demographics affect the housing market? And I was just speaking about as far as the millennials and Bitcoin. This video looks really interesting to me. If you're interested in it yourself, here's the link in the chat for you. And it's discussing how basically the baby boomers who are all inside these large houses inside suburbia America, as they're downsizing and as they are looking to get out of those houses, that the millennials are not going to really be there to be able to buy them because they can't afford them, and as well as they're looking to live closer to cities. I haven't watched it yet. I'm really interested in learning about it. Oh, it says it's locked. I'm sorry. I apologize about that. That's a gated thing. You need a Real Vision subscription. Yeah, me too. I've actually a trial, and I think I only have another week or two left in it. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I watch that today. I'm interested in it. They have a lot of free videos on YouTube that you can normally watch, and it's a really good resource. If you're not subscribed to Real Vision, check them out. Looks like the dollar is trying to break out of this wedge over here. Hanero, I didn't see it. I'm going to look right now. This was going back to the Japanese yen, British pound, Japanese yen. Wow, that's continuing down right now strongly. I'm not sure where you got in, Hanero. I was looking here when you said 30 minutes. I jumped down to the 30-minute. I see here after we broke that trend line, and you see breaks normally are strong and forceful. Came back up, tested it as resistance. And then when this broke, this is kind of where the move happened. I'm not sure exactly how you played it. Nice trade. So it does look like the dollar is breaking up out of this pattern. Not much. All I can say today is that I do not see any strong signals anywhere. And this seems like a day of sitting back, waiting for the next wave to come in. Hanera, could you send me an email? Did you go ahead and yesterday and make sure that your MetaTrader 4 broker was using the same data as over here on TradingView? Did you first make sure that was happening? And if you could send me a screenshot of each of your view of TradingView and your view of MetaTrader 4 on the same chart, I'll take a look with you. Most importantly for everyone, always trade what's on your chart. Whatever, if you're deciding that you're using TradingView to analyze the markets, if you see a setup on TradingView and you're trading off of MetaTrader 4, just place your orders on MetaTrader 4 from what you're seeing on TradingView. So we got the US dollar Swiss franc trading at weekly lows right now. Let me look on the 8-hour. This support is given away, right? Breaking down below it now. Where could she extend to? Are we seeing the dollar pick up a little bit right now though? Looks like she's got a little bit of support to work through still right below here. I don't have a clear view at all. I don't have a clear view at all of what's going on. You broke down through this support right here, but you're coming down into this one. In the past, that's been, a congestion area. You have, I think, pretty decent support right above it. It's not clear for me. If you have a better look at it, please let me know. Yeah, so DJ, if you have a better look, please let me know. I remember, I think it was you, DJ, right? You bought somewhere over here. We're holding this long into here, and that looked really solid, like it had the potential to continue, and it never held within that box. This resistance up here held, and it's since this resistance held up here, this lower resistance of this, which was support of this blue box. Once it broke, it has since held this resistance, and that's where prices come down. This move is really tough for me to trade, though. I don't. I'm interested in what is happening on the pound US dollar. I know it's near that support right now, and how price is going to look over here. This is actually a spot that I would not be surprised if this holds right here. We have this double. They're both light. It could break through. If it breaks through, it looks good. But I expect that there's a good chance that she gets the hold over here. This move's extended already. as you come into the support right now. And it's marked light for a reason. It's light support. Yeah, it seems tough. I feel like it's a slow bleed, and those could continue. I just feel like it's a slow bleed, but I have no clarity whatsoever. DXY is just unchanged now. There's no edge today that I see. Australian dollar is definitely picking up a little bit right now, ever since the top of the hour. Hanera, you have to send me a photo. You have to send me a picture so I can see what's going on. Wilfred, I want to look back at that because I like the sound of that. Nine seven seven eight. 9780. No. So, Wilford, me personally, I don't look to short things following momentum. Like if this started falling back down, I find that chasing price, and chasing price is, you see the entry, as far as I'm concerned, you see the entry CCI here is trading to the downside since this price bar here, and it's continued down. So me entering short over here is chasing, following momentum and chasing price. And usually what happens is when you enter doing that, is price then retraces back against you. So the entry CCI is really important for not chasing price as a guide. And that's why if you use the true trend and you have the entry CCI pulled back against price, the trend is down here, it's red, price is up, the entry CCI, the momentum is up. As price resumes downward is usually the ideal place to enter, because then you're not chasing price and you have a little bit more room to go. So use this as a guide so you're not chasing momentum. A lot of traders chase momentum, right? And sometimes you get big moves, like over here. You could see that price was extended down for a while. And when something's oversold, they could remain oversold. But more often than not, what you get is this. More often than not, you're getting ups and downs, and then you get these areas of price extending. So it could happen, but this will prevent you. Again, I'm looking for the high probability setups. I'm looking to have more edges on my side, and more often than not, chasing price does not work out in my favor. Where did you send that to? I checked TradingView, my Twitter, and email. I don't see it. So a retest would be like where my mouse is right now at this low. If price comes back and takes another look at it, that's a retest of the low. But adversely too, up here you had resistance and price came back and retested the resistance. So that's also a pullback. That retest is also a pullback. You see price pulled back into the resistance. And I don't have this marked as support. It's kind of idiomatics there, Wilford. That's not so easy to say because if this was support, I can say price retested the support if it comes back down here, or that it pulled back into support. So that's a tough one, Wilford, to be honest. And so if this is not support here, and then price comes back into it, then I can only say it retested it. It's and just looking here at the US dollar, Canadian dollar, it's a different pair though. Really important. Why I'm not looking to take a short here. I like to trade off of resistance, sell off of resistance or buy off support. And here was a good support, a good resistance to lean into. Down here, this is pretty light. I don't really want to take a new trade into that. I'm looking for strong levels. For example, on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, when we were looking at this yesterday, I traded it since up here. This was a strong support to lean into. So as price tested that support and then trades off it, that's a level that I like to lean into. I'm looking for strong supports and resistance. I don't think so. One second, I'll get into it with you. Wilford, give me one moment. Go, give me 2 minutes, and we'll go over that together. All right, I'm back with you. Sorry about that. We're going to get to that 1 second, Wilford. I've actually been enjoying this. We went over that earlier. And why? Because we had the breakdown of this trend line over here, came down to the nearest support, came back up, tested that resistance, and are now coming back down and taking a look at the support. Rustin, whether or not they just took out all those stops right there, or this continues down, we're going to find out. Let's see if we get even a better look on a lower time frame. And then I just want to take a look at the DXY. So we noticed, see, we were focused in on that wedge pattern this morning, looking for which way it was going to break. It just broke into the upside and not taking out those highs. So we'll see what's going to happen next, whether or not it's going to be able to continue building off of that or not. Fun stuff. Wilford, on the US dollar, Canadian dollar, you have the entry CCI pulled back against the trend, and that's a good place to look for entry, but only off of resistance or support. All right. If you go into here into the discretionary trend following section, there's a guide that talks about the fact that support and resistance levels supersede the trend. They're more important. And what you need to do is be looking for this type of setup with the entry CCI pulled back against the trend as close to a strong support or resistance that you can find. And right now, it's pretty weak. There is a resistance level right here, but it's weak. I don't even have it drawn in. All right. I'm happy about holding on to a trade here because there's a good chance it could continue. I'm not looking to take a new trade here. And not that you can't or not that you shouldn't. It's only that I'm picky about my trade setups and I'm looking for ones that just offer higher probability. So instead of just looking to trade, again, I'm only looking for a few trades a week. So I'm really, really picky about waiting for them. And I want them to be go to the Euro US dollar right now. You're at a strong support level, right? This is a strong support level. If price is able to start making higher highs off of this support level with the entry CCI pulled back against an uptrend, well, sure, that's an opportunity to take a long, right? And if you get long over here, well, then maybe you're coming up and testing. Let me extend this line. If you're able to get long here, again, that's going to happen during London at the earliest. If this holds and price makes a higher high and you get long during London, you have a pretty good risk to reward, greater than 1-to-1. Move your stop in to break even. Over here's a 2-to-1. That's a decent trade. Or if we break down here, if we break down below this support here, and then price comes up and tests it, and it holds as resistance, and then price starts making lower lows, even if the true trend was still positive, I would get short because the resistance level here supersedes the true trend in that case. So do what you're doing, but do it off of stronger support and resistance levels. Panera, are you sending it through TradingView? If you're sending it through TradingView, we'll get it. Otherwise, send it to my email and use this. Use postimg.cc. Or for your MetaTrader 4 photo, use postimg.cc. You sent it through YouTube. I didn't even know I could get messages through YouTube. I'm going to take a look though. Wilford, does that make sense? Keep doing what you're doing, what you're seeing and looking for. Just do it closer to stronger support and resistance levels. Oh, got it. Hernero, I have no idea why those links don't come through in the chat, but they don't. I have the option in YouTube for URLs to be allowed, but they don't send. YouTube like doesn't even show them held for review. I don't get them at all in the YouTube chat. That's why you have to either use TradingView, send the private message through TradingView, Twitter, or my email. Alberto, I think that's just an image he's talking about, a place to share an image. So if we do get a breakdown here, though, on the Euro US dollar, I'm not saying that's happening. I'm also watching here on as the dollar strengthening, what's happening with the Canadian dollar, because I have another piece on here and I might take profits on it if I see the US dollar to continue to strengthen here. So I'm just talking myself through this right now about what's going on and what's developing, because now we're seeing the dollar firm up, right, in this session. It was boring, but now we're seeing the dollar firm up, and she's got a little bit way to go until she gets to the next resistance. So I'm just kind of aware of what's going on and following the flow of the market. Oh, that looks good, Blair. That this looks really, really good. But now this is something where is it? Euro. All right, we'll be watching this now. So what I'm waiting for now is I don't play the breakouts. Sometimes the breakouts get away from you. You never get a chance to enter, right? The way that I'm going to look at this is be following this. And if during London, that would be the earliest where, if we pull back and test this broken resistance and it holds the support on the resumption upwards, that's interesting for me. This looks good though. And the reason why, just look at the daily, you should be able to see it pretty clearly, is that price has come back against this broken support. It tested it as resistance, was rejected. This trend channel held as support. Price went down into it, never held. It tested successfully as support. Price has blown back up into this resistance, this broken support, and then now has busted through it. So this should now hold as support. And if this holds support, it looks like we have some possible room to roam on the upside. Now, so there's a lot going on the pound US dollar. Is the pound also holding or breaking over here, right? I'm also interested on that. And both of these for me are more of watching what develops, training my brain. Again, this is all free. There's a section in here that talks about how important it is to review the trades, not only the trades you take, but the trades you don't, watching them develop in real time. Both here on the pound US dollar, I'm watching what is going to happen, what I expect to happen, whether this resumes off this support now, or if this breaks down and I get a possible, if this breaks down, I might take this short entry. But again, tomorrow's Friday, and then we have a holiday week. I'm watching it though, and same thing here on the euro. Same thing on the euro, British pound. I want to see what happens. If what I expect happens, and even if I'm not trading them live, it's just really important for developing your brain. So if you take a screenshot, Honero, of your MetaTrader 4, you just then upload it here, and then you get a link that you could share with me. From TradingView, you could just simply take a photo and get a link and share that link with me. But if it's MetaTrader 4, you need to take a screenshot and then upload it to post image. Upload it, not by URL, upload, and then you get a link, copy that link and send it either through TradingView. Or send it by email or to Twitter, and then I'll get it. Yen has been strong today. Yen, really only the Australian dollar, I think, is the only thing stronger than the yen today. And the yen has been really weak. So this looks like just a little bit of possible just retracement in the overall trend. See what's going on. I might be looking just to take my other piece here of profit on the Canadian dollar. I'm checking the time. We're about an hour and 20 minutes from the close of London. So if this was an hour from now, we're about 20 minutes from the close of London, I would probably be looking to hold that position further, because going into the close of London, you get some really sharp moves that then usually retrace. I'm just going to move my stop to 0.3148 on the US dollar CAD. $3.149. Just lock in a few pips, give it a little bit of room here still, and I'll reevaluate it. Yeah, I'm just taking profits here on the US dollar CAD and happy to have a good trade here. It didn't really run as I wanted it to run. And I'd rather get out with a great trade than just a good trade, right? So I'm out of here. I'm waiting to see what happens if we get any further pullback at this point. I had my initial take profit about 7-8 pips lower, and then I was giving it room to see if it broke down further, but it just seems like prices stalled out and now retracing upwards, and I'm happy to have taken profits there and move on. Hey, thanks, Blair. Appreciate that. Arrow, what are you having trouble with to upload an image? You just go to upload, choose your image from your computer, and then you get the URL link, copy and paste it, send it to me. By the way, I'm curious if clicking the allow DLL imports was what solved the problem for those that were having the problem with their 8-hour charts not updating or not. So to send it through TradingView, it's a good question. Probably to send it to TradingView, go like this. Go to the profile, and is there a place to send the message? I've never sent the message myself. There you go. Just go into, click over here, Alberto, on chats, private chats, and click this new window. Type in my name, and then send the message. Send the link there. All right. So just click on the chat window. Click on this chat bubble. Write my name, and send the message. So I see the CAD weakening versus the dollar and the Australian dollar strengthening it. You could really see this playing out on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, and it looks like she's regaining this broken support. It did not hold back on the retest as resistance, and she's regaining this pattern. Is that an entry right there and then? We're during New York, during the right time, making a higher high? Could be. That's one to watch. I'm simply going to watch what develops. I'm not taking it. but I'm curious. This looks like this would be this is a trade to look at. That's for sure. It could be a good trade. Um, I'm not trading it, but I want to see how it plays out. Again, you have price making a higher high as it's regaining the support level on a failed attempt. Hanera, then just send it to my Twitter or my email. So Euro looks like it's holding the support so far. I was interested going into this session whether or not this support gave way today. So far, it looks like it's just taking out stops, as Rustin said. But we still have a good hour and 10 minutes here of this morning New York session. And it looks like things are building up going into it. So I'm going to remove this resistance I have here, and I'm moving it up. It looks clear, like the resistance is up here. You have the touches of support here, the resistance there, and I see that price will actually coincide with this trend channel. So yeah, no problem. I'm sorry that's not simple and smooth. We should be able to just post into the YouTube chat the link. That would be easiest for all of us. And there, I'll look at that with you when we get off of the live stream and help you figure that out. Everyone's gonna take 5 minutes here, check in on the kids again. They're off from school this week, and I'll be back. All right, let me catch back up to you guys here. Pound interesting right here, right? So far, a touch of our trend line over here. Still running towards its highs. The euro over the pound. Euro bounced here. Oh no, sorry. I'm looking at euro US dollar, which has bounced here off of that support. Rustin, so far you're right about those being stops run over here. So maybe I was premature. Either way, I don't care. I'm out of the trade. Euro, Australian dollar making new highs today now versus the dollar. And the DXY, I need to get a feel exactly for what's going on right now. All right. There's something else I wanted to look at. The US dollar, Mexican dollar. I don't know how strong that support is, line I have over here, or how accurate it is, I should say. Because right now, selling off of that little bit of resistance right there, I could see it happening. Wow. Definitely Algo's playing ping pong right now. And there, just one question right here on the pound US dollar on your MetaTrader 4. What is it using here as far as the feed? So that I could just pull up the same feed as you in this moment and then compare. Where should I be? UTC -3, UTC +3. Let me know. Right. Hey, Nair, I'm not sure if you're with me right now or you're not, but just heads up real quick. You can go back to this um, in the replay if not. So you're saying that you have a difference between the true trend here on MetaTrader 4 and on TradingView. Now, I'm not sure that these are exact, but they look. Hold on. So these two feeds are slightly off. And the reason I say that is look right here at this price bar with the long wick right before the big move up, that is closing down. And here on TradingView where I'm looking at it, it's closing up. So they're off by a couple of hours. I don't know which way. And that's the difference you're getting in the entry CCI you're seeing, where you're seeing this turning down now negative. What's also turning down negative. The difference I see here, everything else looks pretty much the same, except for right here, the entry CCI was above the zero line and below the zero line, and here it's above the zero line. There's a little bit of a difference there that I see. Everything else looks pretty close. Again, these are not the same data feeds. They're off by a couple of hours, and I don't know in which direction. Let's see if I went to +2. That doesn't seem to change it. Huh. I can't change my data feed here. I don't know why or how that works. But what I do know is that although the readings are slightly off here, and although that like the entry CCI was above the zero line here, it's still moving in the same direction. Again, the data feeds are not aligned. I could tell from that price bar right here, but nevertheless, just follow it in one of the two areas. Like if you do your analysis here on TradingView, if you have a signal here on TradingView, just place your order here on MetaTrader 4. Things do not need to be exact. You have to be flexible here, especially in trading. Things are never exact, and you just have to be very flexible. Really, you have to be very flexible, and this is a perfect example of where that comes in. Pick whichever you're using to do your analysis, TradingView or MT4. If you're doing your analysis on MetaTrader 4 and trade off MetaTrader 4, fine. It doesn't matter if you get different picture here. But if I was using TradingView to do my analysis and I get a signal, I trade off the TradingView chart and just simply place the order on MetaTrader 4. All right. Really, that's the easiest and best way to do it. That's the way I've been, I've always had the mind frame of just trade whatever is on your chart. I've often placed orders on MetaTrader 4 with a different data feed. It's the way to do it. That's something that's come up before. It's going to come up again. I need to get that into a frequently asked question section. And the yen is still pretty strong today, though. Look how long crude has been overbought. It's been days since the entry CCI has pulled back down. What a week, Mark. Here we are right now at that trend line. Yeah, I think you were up a significant amount going into yesterday. I'm not sure where you locked your stop into. Let's say we were talking about that yesterday in the live stream, right, King? When I exited here, the US dollar, Canadian dollar, I could care less whether or not that was the right decision. I avoid looking at it really, um, and second guessing myself. In this case right now, it's looking like the smart decision, but it could easily went the other way against me. More importantly, I'm just looking back up here now, and I'm saying to myself, well, if price gets back up into this area, you can see it on the 8 hour. Well, then that's another opportunity for me to look to go short if price is rejected up there. But I'm not really concerned with whether or not it works out perfectly. Right? Well, second guessing yourself like that is not really healthy for the mindset and not really productive. I'm more focused on the fact that whether again, right now it's going, it looks like a good decision, but I'm more focused on the fact that I took a good trade, took a piece off at a really good place, let the other run to see what happened, and then it didn't fall through, took profits. Right or wrong, great trade. That's how I look at it. And always careful, King, about what words I use. You know, our words definitely help create the reality around us, right? So I'm really always looking to build a better and good future. So I think it's really important to be mindful of that. And I always correct myself when I mess up. S&P along with oil looking to extend upwards. Looks like all the indices are at new all-time highs. So I have to say, I loved reading this article today. Again, Stanley Druckenmiller is a legend. He has, for over 30 years, a 30% return. He's the one who took down the Bank of England, coached by Soros on to increase his position size. He's going into 2020. He's long Canadian dollar and Australian dollars and shorting yen. You know, I add in the New Zealand dollar. That's exactly what we are seeing unfold. He's also already buying the pound. Again, I'm uncertain to what will happen if there's a hard, if they leave without a deal. We might see some pound depreciation first, but that's a long-term buying opportunity. He's already stepping in there and buying. Um, And when this guy goes in, he doesn't go in small, he goes in big. He always goes in big. This support so far being tested successfully. If you are looking and focused in on a setup, this is something to watch going into tomorrow, right? If going into London, this support is holding over here and we start making higher highs, it's something to consider. I'm not going to be taking it. I have my open position. I'm still holding. I'm not looking to add until tomorrow unless something is glaringly um, obvious. Yep. Always be looking to bless. I mean, oil looks so good here, except I don't trade oil. I would not be looking to chase it here, right? It looks like the breakout's taking hold, and it looks like it's got, I think we said, what do we say? Maybe around 62.50, it could extend to. But that's top. The entry was definitely down here. I'm playing backseat quarterback here, backseat driver. It's a lot easier to see here. When the entry CCI was again pulled back against the trend as you tested the successful support of this trend line. This was where the entry was in this area. I'm not trying to say that I was looking at that. I wasn't, and that's not easy to take in real time. I'm just reviewing it and saying, and now we've been overbought for a long time, and when overbought's overbought, it could remain so for an extended period of time. So chasing price up here is dangerous, but it does look like it could keep extending. Yeah, let's look at the pound Japanese yen, and looks to be taking out this level down here of support, which held, and now price is definitely making a lower low. Where does it go from here? I don't know. We have a strong yen today. The strong yen we're seeing today, I think, is just the result of taking a breather because yen has been really weak consistently, and it's just natural, for price to retrace towards the mean. So you're seeing a strong yen today. If that's going to continue into tomorrow, I have no idea. Um, where would you be leaning? I see where my mouse is right now. I'll draw in a support. Right, I see support down there. That looks like it could be the next place that she's going to be looking for. Um, and then, of course, down below further. Mima, I avoid trading this. To me, the pound is volatile and uncertain. You could turn back up 100 pips in a second on a day like today, for sure. There's a lot of money to be made there. Mark is crushing it all week long. Pound US dollar. King had a beautiful trade on the pound Japanese yen. There is potential there. I've learned by avoiding volatility that my account grows much better. So that's where I'm at. Um, I have two supports down here. This support down here, you get down towards this end support, and you're leaning off this trend channel. All right, that looks really solid for seeing what happens down there for looking for a buy right now. If you are day trading this pair, holding short, it looks to me like we're cleared. Right? That's the breakdown right there. And what happens now? Well, I'd be looking down all the way down to 140.90, another 110, 20 pips below, and watch you get back above this line, watch out, then this could be a false breakdown over here. And Era, you constantly are focused on the shorter time frames. It seems like over the past couple of weeks, you've been doing really well. Do you feel, even though you trade a different style, that you've been more geared in by being here with us? Looks pretty choppy, right? And I see the euro playing ping pong. The 35 minutes here to the London close. It's difficult to get a read here on the dollar. Yeah, it's hard for me to tell from sitting over here, but I feel like you've been trading pretty consistent, Hanera, and I know you trade short time frames. Rustin, that's where I want to do over this vacation. I'm glad you said that. I'm making myself a note right now. I really want to study topping patterns and bottom formations. That's where I want to look to increase my knowledge. Um, hold on, I think I've saying to myself. Let me set the alarm later today. I'm glad you brought that up. And then I'm going to take that newfound knowledge that I get, and I'm going to go over to Tesla. I'm going to be watching this. This looks like a parabolic blow off top to me, you know? So looks pretty steep too. You know, picking tops and bottoms is really hard, right? If I were to sell here, well, that might be pretty stupid, right? We could go way higher, but usually, you know, on a formation like this, if I set in the trend line, once price breaks down below it, that's usually a safer place to get in. The angle of this seems really steep. I know there's a fund that has, I forgot the name of the fund off the top of my head. They have a $4,000 price target on Tesla. I mean, I I don't, but let's see what happens. Mima, I'm gonna get to that in 1 second. I love the Cybertruck. I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool looking. Um, I'm totally into the solar panels if they ever got that going. I love the Tesla battery packs for the house, but you know, inside me, I really think Tesla's a fraud. So I like the car. Love some of the stuff they're doing. Love the Cybertruck. Love the battery pack. Love the solar panels. But I have a feeling what's going on there is not on the up and up, like WorldCom or Enron type stuff. So, Mima, the part you're saying as far as setups and patterns that occur on larger time frames also occurring on smaller time frames, I agree with 100%. You could look here at the DXY right now, which we saw today, and we were looking at, I think, on the 5-minute time frame, and we drew in this wedge, and then you see the breakout. Like, we watch this pattern on the daily and 8-hour all the time, right? And here you could see it playing out on the smaller time frame. And of course, things that play out on the higher time frames in trading definitely play out on the smaller time frames. Now, the support and resistance that you add from the daily, let's look at the pound. Like, I have these drawn in on the daily time frame, right? And they come into effect on no matter what time you draw it in on the daily, but if you're on the 15-minute, these levels are in play. Like, look how this resistance level the support level acted. It held as support, broke through, and then held as resistance on the 15-minute, but that was drawn in on the daily, right? So you could, no matter what time frame you trade, you still should be looking to draw the support and resistance from the higher time frame, and then go down to your smaller time frame. I think your best bet on the smaller time frames is during London or before 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I personally think that the higher time frames are much easier to trade. Oh, Rustin, there is no fraud like the Federal Reserve type fraud. That's that's the biggest fraud. I actually personally think that the Federal Reserve banking system and the fractional reserve monetary system is the greatest evil in the world today. The greatest evil. And everything else is most everything else is just a symptom of that. Hanera, that's the first I'm hearing of them. I just Googled it really quick, or just DuckDuckGo'd it really quick. Um, I tried to avoid Google. In You know what? Like, if to be honest, I'm glad you mentioned that. If I was going ahead and installing solar panels, I would probably be looking elsewhere than Tesla, because simply I don't know that they'll be in business, or that, you know, they don't really service the existing Teslas too well, people that have problems and breakdowns. So I can't imagine they would be servicing my solar roof too well. And this is really interesting. I'll look into them later and find out a little bit more about them. right? It's hard to find an edge today for my style of trading. And again, I'm back to where I'm waiting for the next set of waves to come in. Again, right or wrong, I don't know if that worked out being the best place to take profit or not, but I'm glad I did it. Australian dollar looks to be taking an important level back here, getting above this resistance. Things look good. Things look really good here. Hanair, are you affiliated with them in any way? Is there anything else you know more about them? US dollar, Japanese yen has been off the radar. Coming into this support over here. All right. I view this as a buying opportunity if this support holds. I think today was just a retrace towards the means in the Japanese yen and an opportunity. Super cool in here. I would love one day to have because of I don't know if Tesla was the first to do the battery packs. I know there are other options as well. I've seen people on YouTube who make their own. But it would be so awesome to have your house off the grid, right? To have the capacity through solar to be able to save power and be able to be off the grid if needed. Definitely look further into that. Thanks for the share. We haven't checked in on the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen also in a little bit of while. This trend line in place for me, you get below it, then things start opening up and we could see a further extension. I'm looking for that support to hold in the meantime. I don't know how well drawn in that line is, but it's there. It's a guide, right? I always look for the break and then the retest. Um, Again, I view the yen strength today as nothing more than just a bit of a retrace after the yen has been so weak. Things just resetting themselves. I could be wrong. This could be in the top today, right? We had Premier Li of China saying they expect China to be weaker. This is hysterical now, right? Um, I have some really great videos on Bitcoin. I think everyone I've done has been pretty good. Not everyone, not these two are awesome for trading. These two are phenomenal. They got no views. That they're probably the best videos that were released those days. But there are other YouTubers who really focus in on that daily. So these are just about like trading on a daily basis. So those two aside, and those are awesome. But this strategy for Bitcoin that we talk about using the True Trend BTC is awesome. Um, this one, Hanero, as far as like a beginner guy getting into, you should watch, is Bitcoin still a good investment? You should watch, is the Bitcoin having 2020 price prediction? If you watch these two videos, I think your knowledge of Bitcoin is already far greater than most, just from watching these two videos on YouTube. I definitely think and recommend your knowledge will be a little bit above than it would be way above the average person who's into Bitcoin. And then going forward than that, um, I plan on doing a video. This is a good one. If you haven't seen this one yet, watch this video. It talked about why where we were, not to be worried, why it was such a good buying opportunity, and you know, the video was released over here when price was right there, and I explained why it was such a good buying opportunity. Um, I think long term, my focus is trading Forex with a Bitcoin as a base account. I think that is a good way to go about it and do it. You could deposit fiat into FX Choice and convert it into Bitcoin to buy it. Uh, you're holding it with a third party, FX Choice. You're trusting to hold your Bitcoin, right? You could also store Bitcoin offline in a hardware wallet, such as Trezor, Trezor, and then your Bitcoin is as safe as it could be, stored offline where it can't be hacked. So the most Hanero into my Twitter account, if you go ahead and direct message me as a beginner, what you would be looking for in a beginner guide, and what are the things you would be looking to learn and understand. Well, then I could see if I could put something together. So how to buy and secure Bitcoin. Yep, for sure. That's a good one. I could definitely help with that. I also want to do a video maybe over the vacation about what levels I would be looking to sell at during the next bull market, what I would consider to be like a really high level, and where I'd be looking to get on the sidelines. Um, but that's a really good one. How to buy and secure Bitcoin. Yeah, Wilford, all you need to do. This is an affiliate link, Wilford. They don't charge you any extra for using it. That's 100% for sure, but it is an affiliate link. You could sign up for FX Choice through there from, I believe, anywhere but Spain. I believe anywhere in the world but Spain, you could sign up for an account. You have the option to trade in US dollars. You have the option to trade in pounds, euros, Bitcoin, uh, Ethereum, Ripple. I think as a long-term investment, using Bitcoin as the base account is the way to go. And I think this video would explain why I do that best. Or satellite, Blair, or satellite. They have the Blockstream has a satellite up in space that goes ahead and is projecting the blockchain down to Earth. About OneCoin, so Mima, uh, um, without being very familiar with OneCoin, uh, I'm almost certain that's a scam. I think it has a reputation of being a scam. But so the thing is it's possible in the next bull phase of Bitcoin, uh, and probably about 6 months after the halving, it's possible that alt season starts where there are other cryptocurrencies that outperform Bitcoin. And there'll probably be about five or so in the next wave of cryptocurrencies that outperform Bitcoin from that point on. But picking those five out of the thousands is extraordinarily difficult. And ultimately, those five will probably end up depreciating, 95% from wherever their highs are. So Bitcoin is not comparable to other cryptocurrencies in any way, shape, or form. Bitcoin's competitors, you could say, are gold first, but I believe Bitcoin will overtake the market cap of gold eventually. And I think the US dollar is more of a competitor of Bitcoin. That's my opinion. But Bitcoin is competing for money, and no other cryptocurrency is competing for money other than Bitcoin, unless you have like a stable coin like Tether, which is just pegged to the dollar. They're also competing for money then, but not on par with the dollar, not against the dollar or any other fiat currency. Definitely interested in Tesla up here at these levels. I think. I wonder if it's going to make it as high as 420. That would be ironic. It would be ironic if it made it as high as 420, and that was the high. That's where Elon called. Had that famous tweet, "Funding secured at 420." I can't imagine Twitter trading up at these levels, and I think a lot of shorts have capitulated up here. A lot of shorts have been burnt, so it looks like a good time. You know, I'm not suggesting anyone short Tesla, and I'm not shorting Tesla here, but I am watching it. I'm sorry to hear about that, Mima. That's terrible. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Australian dollar having its way now with the US dollar. You're so Rustin, you're I guess what's the right word? You're envisioning seeing here that the New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar sell off versus the yen. Where's the Australian dollar? So right now I have them both above supports. I have definitely a strong bullish bias on both of them. And in order for that to change, the New Zealand dollar would need to first break this trend line for me. In the Australian dollar, Australian dollar, Japanese yen, we need to trade below this trend line over here. As long as we're above this trend line here on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, which is this year-long breakout, I'm pretty bullish. I think the reason why you might see any type of altcoin season about 6 months after the halving, that's when Bitcoin should be trading at new all-time highs. It's going to be, for example, if it's trading at $55,000 or if it's trading at $35,000, a lot of people all over the media are going to be attracted to Bitcoin. Um, you know, my mom is going to be like, oh, it's all over the news, this Bitcoin, and they become interested in Bitcoin because they've seen it happen so many other times in the past. And then they look into it and they say, oh, it's so expensive. I can't buy Bitcoin. Little do they know that it's not cheap like it is now, but relatively speaking, it's still not expensive. And they look for cheaper priced altcoins, figuring they can make more money speculating on them. And that I believe is what drives the speculation that drives alt season. Rustin, it doesn't seem counter trend to you looking here for the New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar to be topping out here? Or is there something that you're noticing, some type of topping pattern that you're noticing on them? Or is it, or are you going off gut? I'm not sure, DJ. I know that the the biggest scam right now in crypto is this plus token uh out of China. I think they have 1% of the total Bitcoin supply. I think it was a couple of $1 billion. They're supposedly selling 1,500 Bitcoin a day. And that the founder, I believe, is on the run. I'm not sure about OneCoin. Actually, it looks like I'm confused here between plus token and one coin. Um, it's her. Yes, she is. Her brother was caught, and she is on the run. So are are, are one coin and plus token related? I'm not sure. I can't talk about something that I don't know about. So I'm not exactly sure what the deals are between one coin and plus token, and probably both founders are on the run. Ooh, let's see what happens here. This is interesting. You had the breakout of this rising of this wedge pattern, came up, took out the high, since traded all the way down, took out the low. Both highs and lows are taken out. This is also testing the bottom of that pattern. This could hold right here. You see the resistance over there. Very choppy price action this morning. We were able to distinguish that. We were able to see that there was no edge. Very important for trading. Where's the euro? Dollar weaker right now. You're back towards the highs of the session. Australian dollar is really taking advantage of that, getting above this resistance here. We're just going into the close now. Whether, you know, we could have reversed again here coming into the London close. I wouldn't be surprised if this indecision and chop continues. The one difference between Bitcoin is that Satoshi was the founder. He's not involved in the project whatsoever. Bitcoin is decentralized. You have to be responsible, know how to store your Bitcoin, keep it safely. Be aware if you keep it with like a third party, such as FX Choice, you're taking on that risk. FX Choice has been in business for a long time. They have a solid reputation, but you're taking that risk. Um, I don't think I've ever seen a reputable Forex broker actually scam. Oh, Mima, that would have turned into something beautiful had they not scam. I'm sorry. Oh, Blair, is that I cannot pronounce the name of the exchange out of Canada that starts with a Q. That's terrible. So this is that, I mean, Honero, when you talked about that, I mean, that's tough. That's why it's so important what you're hitting on, Honero. Just us even briefly talking about how to secure Bitcoin. So Blair, I mean, he wrote his will right before disappearing and being, called dead in this part of India that's known for producing fake death certificates. I mean, yeah, it's terrible. That's not, I mean, the question is I don't know. I don't know what happened to the money. I don't know whether he faked his death to walk away with the money. He lost the money. It's. I think that last I read though, they're requesting the courts to exhume his body to make sure that it's him or not, to find out whether or not he did fake his death. Yeah. Blair, I'm not buying that he died, especially writing the will 12 days before he died. Was his, I don't know if that was his girlfriend or his wife. He's married? Did she get the money in his will? Um, it's terrible. Renera, I'll definitely do that. That's important stuff. That's definitely important stuff. And definitely, I want to be clear. I do it. I take the risk of it's a risk having US, right. If you have $10,000, $1,000, or $100,000 with your broker, okay. In my case, FX Choice. If that's in US dollars, euros, or Bitcoin, I'm taking a risk with them because they are a third party. They've been in business for 12 years, have an excellent reputation. Again, I've never known a reputable Forex broker to have any type of exit scam whatsoever. Actually, I do remember that when the Swiss bank took away the peg against the euro, that most Forex brokers actually took their customers' losses and didn't hold them liable. But there's a risk there, right? The risk I think about is what happens when Bitcoin appreciates to a couple $100,000, right? Like there's risk. There's a third party risk in keeping your Bitcoin, whether it's on an exchange, which could get hacked, or the founder could exit scam, um, with a forex broker, and there's a risk, and the safest way is keeping it in a hardware wallet, and it gets much more nuanced and complicated than that. But the safest way is keeping it in a hardware wallet. It costs like $70 on Amazon, and your Bitcoin is offline. And as long as you have that, your seed safe, you're get into it in the video. You know that it's really safe, probably safer than having your money in a bank, whether it's Chase or Bank of America. And plus, no one could take it from you. But I will get into all that, and not only get into it, I'll talk about what the risks are for every which way you decide to store it, as well as what the benefits are. But that's important information. I'm glad you brought it up. I mean, the thing about blockchain though is that money could be traced and tracked. Those wallets from the exchange, they should know if that money is moving around, if that money is just simply locked up there. And I'm sure there have been people that have gone ahead and followed that trail. Euro is back in no man's land. That's tough. Again, this pair has such a steep swamp, and the spread is high. I think leaning off of that up there, if it happens, might be a little bit safer. I think this might be a little bit of a widowmaker, this pair. Let's see how retail is positioned on it. I am not familiar with Ledger. I'm pretty sure, and I'm not familiar with Ledger. I'm pretty sure that when you set up your Ledger, you have like a 15-word seed phrase. And so long as you save that seed phrase, it doesn't matter which ledger you use. If, for example, you lost your ledger, you could just go out and get a new one and then use your backup seed phrase to restore your funds. Retail is mixed, half and half. You could see that not many people trade it. You're looking at 30 lots to the long side and to the downside. Comparably speaking, on the euro, you are looking at 50,000 lots short and 18,000 long. US dollar, Canadian dollar. I exited my trade here, and it looks like it's resuming now downward. Maybe this is right where I exited. Snowy, what is the question though? As far as US dollar, Canadian dollar, I see resistance up here that if price traded back to, I would be looking to lean off of again and to sell off of. Um, I wouldn't, but we look to be like holding this support down here. Uh, it could go either way from here. It's a very light level, and you could see that from this down move, the pullback so far has been very controlled. So if you start making lower lows again, there's a good chance you come back down to here. But I avoid this type of trade. I only take trades that are close to pretty strong support or resistance levels. Oh, geez. I heard there was a software developer from Silicon Valley who had like $150,000 stored with them, and you were transferring yours out. The downtrend looks intact to me. This looks pretty good. Um, Again, I just took profits here to be cautious. And if we roll back down, I would not be surprised. But at this particular level, I don't see an edge for myself. I don't want to be buying here because you are against a pretty strong downtrend with a lot of things, including high oil prices, risk on, a lot of things favoring the Canadian dollar here. So this is like super counter trend. I don't want to take a buy here off of support, but we're kind of in this support area right now. And prices is currently bouncing off of it. So I would 50-50. If we roll over here and come down and test here, I I see that clearly and I would not be surprised. Or if we trade back up to here, I would not be surprised. So that's why it's completely neutral at this point, and I'm on the sidelines waiting to get closer to a stronger support or resistance level, specifically resistance level. If we trade back up into this zone over here, then I'm looking to the downside again. But right now, I'm on the sidelines. Oh my goodness, it's a ton of money. That's if 150,000 wasn't 400, almost a $500,000. So, quick poll: who is trading these off days next week? These next 2 weeks? These next 10 days? Who will be trading the 26th, 27th, 30th, 31st, or on Monday the 23rd? I'm not trading during these periods. Um, I'm curious if you guys have discerned on yourself, on your own, who will be looking to trade. Obviously, no one's trading the 24th and 25th, but on the 23rd, 26th, 27th, 30th, and 31st, and then even going into January on the 2nd and 3rd. Have you thought about it yet? If you thought about it and you know if you're trading, let me know. And if you're not trading, let me know. My experience has definitely taught me not to trade it. Steve, I'm with you. Good job. All right, everyone. I think this is a perfect place for us to go ahead and end today's session. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to catch some of you tomorrow. I know it's going to be a light day for a lot of people. I'll be here, and if I don't see you, if you're not here tomorrow, I just want to take a moment right now to wish you a wonderful Christmas holiday for those of you who are celebrating, and just I appreciate each and every one of you. I really enjoy this community, which I feel gets stronger and stronger all the time. So I'll catch you all tomorrow.